Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic the Gathering. Today's video is going to be my reactions to the Wizards Presents event. This is the annual event where Wizards announces the upcoming year's worth of Magic sets. Today's video will be my edited down reactions, just parts where I had a lot of commentary to say or I had a pretty hype reaction to certain things that happened today. But if you want to check out the full unedited video, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below where this was streamed live. Without further ado, let's look into Magic's future with the Wizards Presents event.
Magic will be traveling to one of the most iconic realms of all time.
Lord of the Rings.
Middle-earth.
They're leading with it. They're starting with Lord of the Rings.
The world of the Lord of the Rings is getting the legendary Magic treatment. The book's influence on modern fantasy is undeniable. So many fantasy novels, TV shows, movies, and games trace their lineage back to Middle-earth. Now this iconic story will be part of Magic's. In honor of this, the design team worked closely with Middle-earth Enterprises and dove deep into the source material to make sure to get it just right. The cards and art in this series will have all the flavor and history of the trilogy, with the gameplay depth that Magic players love. We're excited to share that the set will be packed full of cards featuring beloved characters like the ring bearer himself, Frodo, and the corrupted Maiar, the fearsome Balrog. But it's not just these two you'll find on your journey. You'll see the entire fellowship that helped the ring make it all the way to Mordor. Villains from across Middle-earth and the trusty items they brought along the way. This set will feature a number of new card treatments, including borderless scene cards. When brought together, these cards will form amazing, recognizable scenes from the books, like the climactic battle of Pelennor Fields outside of Gondor. This beautiful tableau is formed from 18 separate cards.
That's sick.
On their own, they are glorious pieces of art.
Those are great showcase styles.
You can see the entire story as if turning pages in the novel. This epic crossover will be a fully modern legal and draftable booster set for you to play and collect. Digital-only players won't be left out either. Magic will also release the Lord of the Rings as an alchemy set in MTG Arena.
It's coming to Arena.
With a new battlefield, mastery pass, avatars, pets, and more. Next up, a new chapter for Dungeons & Dragons.
You're gonna play against people with Lord of the Rings
Dungeons
avatars now?
Dungeons & Dragons is a thrilling adventure. One
that's so good. That's everything I wanted to hear. I think they said Q3 2022 as well. So that is fall?
And today,
Fall's Q3,
we're going to
right?
introduce some of what's in store for us as we embark on an initiative.
I'm hyped. I'm so glad Lord of the Rings is going to be draftable on Arena, because that means I get to make a bunch of videos on it.
Fantasy, but I never saw myself as a hero because I didn't think it was possible for someone who looked like me, who acted like that. They can remember
that's all great news about Lord of the Rings. And yeah, Lord of the Rings avatars and pets, that's hilarious too.
That becomes generational.
The celebration of Magic the Gathering's 30th anniversary is right around the corner. And
Magic 30th anniversary celebration. Another ad for Magic 30 at Vegas. Little late for the ad. Like, all the tickets are like sold out. I am not going to Magic 30 yet. I'm gonna be chilling at home, probably watching people stream Magic 30. Got the digital ticket for the big cube craft they're doing. I don't even know what.
Join us in Las Vegas on October 28th to the 30th for
virtual tickets
events,
available
celebrations, tournaments, and the most prestigious
all the non-virtual ones are sold out.
The Magic World Championship. To celebrate Magic the Gathering's 30th anniversary, across the next 8 pre-releases, Magic
here's
is
the promos for everybody.
Promos that span the game's history.
These are incredible.
Each year from 1993 to the present. The promos will be released in chronological order. So for Dominaria United, your local game store will be receiving additional promos that celebrate the very first 3 years, with Sarah Angel from 1993, Ball Lightning from 1994, and Findhorn Elves from 1995. This is a 30th anniversary event special, so make sure to support your local game stores and pick up those promos.
Yeah, 3 different promos for each pre-release for the next 10 sets. And you get one of the 3 each time you go. You trade with people, get them all. Yeah, and there's one for every year the game's been out. And it's a card that obviously came out that year with the
Jimmy,
original
can you break
border.
down some of the exciting releases that were hinted at?
Very pretty.
Well, I think OG Magic fans will be excited for this. As you saw, there's going to be a special secret lair that celebrates the 30 years of Magic. The 30th anniversary countdown kit will be a unique and limited run product from Secret Lair containing 30 cards, one iconic card from each year of Magic's history. Each classic card will have a fresh new look thanks to featured artists and its own
also a 30th anniversary Secret Lair.
Rip them all open
with a card from each year.
Crack one each day this December to count down to the start of 2023. And it wouldn't be Secret Lair if we didn't mention
you can use it as your advent calendar
coming up next week. Go to the Secret Lair website on August 22nd, that's 4 days from now, where you will be able to get cards from Victor Adame Minga's artist series and the showcase Dominaria United. That's only 2 of the drops, so you definitely want to check out the rest. Also, we are excited to announce that there will be a Brain Dead Secret Lair collaboration in the near future, so you're going to want to keep an eye out for that.
We've already
Magic
talked earlier
Universes
about
Beyond.
one. Let's talk to our friend Jimmy about what worlds Magic is traveling to next.
Worlds
Coming
plural?
next to Magic's Universes Beyond will be Warhammer 40,000.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah,
now,
we knew
you
that.
already know about this release, but there's still a ton to explore in this
those things are
unending
cool. I like
horde
those a
of
lot.
soulless living metal.
Skeleton-looking.
Finally, the Tyranid Hive fleets feed upon everything they touch to ramp towards massive,
Those just look like Doom demons.
To see this theme in action, each deck will come with a Soul Ring themed around its faction.
Okay,
These
those
decks will be
are
available
so
in regular
sick.
and collector editions. Every
Warhammer
card
is
in the
metal.
collector edition comes in the new, beautiful
Good Lord.
Surge foil treatment. Look for the Warhammer 40,000 commander decks coming out later this year. Oh.
Doctor
That's right.
Who?
The series that has been around for over 60 years
Oh my God.
is joining forces with Magic the Gathering.
Magic's literally
Doctor
unstoppable.
Who will come to Magic in immersive commander decks. There will
It's
be
gonna be
4 decks
everything.
in total. They will feature doctors, companions, villains, locations, and more from across the show's 60-year history. But it's not just commander decks. If you really want to make your deck
That's just
fantastic,
literal straight
you'll
up.
be able to get
Oh my
beautiful
God.
special treatments and their very own collector boosters.
That's the only one I recognize.
And you
I
can bet
really
Secret Lair
recognize
will
the
be in on
Matt
the
Smith
action as well.
Doctor.
Whether heroic or villainous,
But I haven't
old
ever
Whovian
watched
or
any
new,
Doctor Who, so I don't
these decks are
recognize most
so
of the
full
others.
references, you'd think they're bigger on the inside.
Oh my God, yeah,
I
there's.
hope you're
Oh
as
my
stoked as I am
God,
for
that's
these upcoming
wild.
collaborations. And stay tuned to what's coming
Those
next.
are the weirdest / coolest Secret Lairs, is when they're very much like the likenesses of the actors in the shows, like the Walking Dead cards.
Next, we're taking a look at Dominaria Remastered. This
We get to hear what
special
Dominaria
limited print
Remastered
run
is.
set contains cards from 27 previously released sets located either in
is.
Dominaria or from ancillary sets featuring Dominaria themed
It's from
cards.
27
It really
different
is
sets, so it's just the
culmination
best
of
cards
everything
from
Magic has done on this
Dominaria.
plane in the past 30
Period.
years, and it will be
All the
fully
different Dominaria
draftable.
sets.
You will be
And fully
able to
draftable.
recreate that feeling of early Magic sets with many familiar classic draft archetypes that longtime fans are gonna love revisiting. There will be draft and collector boosters, which will include alternate versions of popular cards, as well as borderless art and retro frames. Take a look at Force of Will
Oh my
and
God.
Arborea.
They've got the retro frames from Time Spiral Remastered again. And it's really
man, I
from
can't
all
wait to
kinds
collect
of sets. Oh my
And now
God.
it's time for the Magic main event. We're going to get a look at the full slate of main sets that will be coming out from the rest of this year.
Well,
through
Dominaria
2023.
Remastered is exciting. I'm definitely going to draft that a lot in paper, as long as my local game store offers it. Now we get to hear the Magic releases.
There's
It's
a
the big
whole lot of news
news.
to cover. Jimmy, tell us about these exciting sets.
All right, let's start at the very center of the multiverse, Magic's home. Dominaria United is going to be the next big set release coming your way, and no better place to celebrate the 30th anniversary than where it all began.
Yep.
This set really ramps up the biggest storyline in Magic's history, the Phyrexian Arc. Magic has never done a multi-set storyline quite like this before. The iconic and beautiful plane of Dominaria is under duress. War is on the horizon, and it's becoming clear that the Phyrexians we've been seeing from across the multiverse are setting into motion something much more sinister. Vorinclex,
sure are.
the green-aligned Praetor, was last seen on Kaldheim, stealing a sample of the godly and mysterious Tyrite. The Blue Praetor, Jin Gitaxias, not only stole the reality chip from Kamigawa, but managed to complete the very first Planeswalker with Tamiyo. Urabrask, the Red Praetor, snuck his way into New Capenna in order to study the effects of Halo and see if it might have some way of standing up against the growing Phyrexian army. Dominaria has long theorized that it would be next in the Phyrexians' plans, but the heroes truly have no idea just how far the war has progressed. Tamiyo isn't the only planeswalker hidden among them that has Phyrexian oil coursing through their veins.
They might spoil it here.
And Dominaria United is right around the corner in September. And stick around, because after the presentation, there will be the debut of Dominaria United.
Read the story, everybody.
Mechanics, and we'll have a special teaser video to show
At least
you.
chapter 5.
So whether you're new or returning to Magic, this is where the epic journey of the Phyrexian arc truly begins, and you definitely don't want to miss it.
So we've spoken about the past with Magic's 30th anniversary and everything up to the present, including Dominaria United. Only thing left is the future. Jimmy,
here we go.
What's coming up for Magic next year?
All right. Hot on the heels of Dominaria United, the next chapter of the Phyrexian arc will unfold as we travel back in time to follow the most famous brothers in the multiverse, Urza and Mishra in the Brothers' War. In this set that straddles both the present and past of Dominaria, we'll get a closer look at the infamous conflict that caused the rift between these two artificers.
It's gonna be a super cool set.
Plenty of artifacts, and we're not talking about
and I'm very
spectacles
pumped for
and
the big
sunglasses.
old
We're talking
giant artifact
mechs and
creatures.
Colossal war machines. Can't say too much just yet, but one thing I will say is that the fate of the future might be rooted in the past. Up next in our storyline, our villains grow ever stronger in Phyrexia. All will be one. For the first time in over 10 years, we revisit the terrifying and beautiful plane of New Phyrexia as Elish Norn inches ever closer in her plan.
There's just going to be a set just all Phyrexians.
Things look grim. Terror and oil oozes from every corner of the plane as we experience the fear and joy.
Full set of just Phyrex. That's going to be so sick.
And finally,
that's where Elish Norn is.
Machine, the dramatic conclusion of the Phyrexian arc. The entire multiverse rallies together for one epic climactic battle. But what will be left when the dust settles? Do we survive? We'll find out where we stand.
March of the Machine is the Phyrexian war names.
The Aftermath.
March of the Machine, the Aftermath?
Is fundamentally changed, and Aftermath serves as an epilogue by tying up some loose ends.
It's straight up
after the
years,
of the Phyrexian arc,
years, like
Eldraine returns
sets
us to
long
the fan-favorite plane.
of
But
a
in
war.
this set, we're taken away from the cities and castles and into Eldraine's
That's super
wild,
nice.
where enchantments abound, and where you might even recognize inspiration.
And we're going back to Eldraine when the war's all over. Just check out what's going on there.
Finally, we close out 2023 by going on a thrilling adventure. We'll dive into the lost caverns of Ixalan. But
and then back to Ixalan
since the powerful artifact of the Immortal Sun disappeared. For this set, we're spelunking for buried treasure.
That's
there
pretty
just
cool.
might be some dinosaurs.
That's super cool. I didn't think we were going to revisit either of those so soon. But that's nice, because those are both really like lighthearted, fun kind of planes. That'll be a really nice pick-me-up after several sets of just like war going on.
Books and experiences.
With the super deadly, creepy Phyrexians and stuff.
The coast in the coming years.
That is a really nice list of sets for next year. That's going to be sick.
Movie and so many books.
All right, that was pretty sweet.
I'm Cindy Goodman, and now is the Dominaria United debut.
And now we get Dominaria United spoilers. I'm happy about like all the Magic news. Obviously, there was some dead air there with the D&D news that I'm not that interested in. But
and welcome. I'm Jimmy Wong, and it's time to talk about Dominaria United.
All the Magic news was good.
Today, we're going to be learning more about what went into revisiting Magic's very first plane, checking out the set's mechanics, and of course, getting a first look at a ton of brand new
Get to hear the mechanics and see a bunch of cards.
Earlier this
Very
week for
important for draft, the mechanics.
History, art, and world building of Dominaria United.
It's going to be good stuff.
I already know a bit of what to expect. But if you weren't able to make it, here's a quick recap. But be sure to check out the whole thing once we're done here today.
We're excited to bring you the story of
this.
Magic's Lost Legends.
We found these boxes of the original Legends in a warehouse, and we wanted to get them out.
Put lottery
into the world
golden tickets in your
for our players
collector
to enjoy.
boosters for your booster packs that are just designed to be bought, not drafted, which is all RNG pure lottery loot box gambling.
It's really cool, and it makes me feel like I'm 13 again.
1 out of 100 packs is going to have one random card from Legends, which is 90% likely to be a common.
As you can see, there's a ton of exciting stuff in the works of this set. So let's hear from some special guests.
Oh yeah, she's here on Dominaria 2 in her most iconic form.
Right, definitely
Liliana
the most
of
powerful
the Veil,
Liliana card we've ever
officially
made. By a long shot. And that ultimate is backbreaking, right? You ultimate it and they separate the permanents into two piles.
I really like the alternate art where she has like the raven feathers and the raven symbol there.
So if you've been following Magic for a long time,
kind of like showing that she's kind of working with the Raven Man potentially here right now.
And it's cool we get to bring this old character players love from flavor attacks into a current setting. And so
also really cool to finally see the Raven Man get his own card.
Favorite things from around Magic history and put them into a set. Pretty cool.
So Squee is a goblin.
Like a very powerful
he was
card.
The cabin boy on board the Sky
They're
Ship
rapid firing these cards too. Not enough time to like fully read and see how good they are, but I'm sure they're all rares right now, so they're all just great.
Even though he was constantly in horrible danger. The story writers wrote that into the story, that he had been transformed by Phyrexian science into an immortal that just kept healing whenever he died.
So one thing we see on Squee's card that's really cool is he's holding his toy, right? He's got this thing called Squee's toy.
We now know the identity of the Raven Man, yeah.
And just like how he brought it all the way with him and has it now in Dominaria, every character we visit has a bit of themselves that they have brought to Dominaria with them. You know, we look at Jorah, a character
Squee did look really powerful, but I couldn't read the whole thing.
She's still kicking.
She's one of the greatest genius artificers of Dominarian history.
Oh,
and we really see that
I like that Jorah. That's kind of a mixture between her old version and her new one.
Building up more and more knowledge.
She cares about artifacts still, but she's also about cheating things into play.
Zur, Eternal Schemer.
Reading
a new
Zur?
That's sick.
It was clear that like somewhere in the background of all the action, Zur was trying to become immortal. Everyone kind of thought that was crazy. But look at how many people have become immortal in Dominaria. It just happens sometimes.
Ingenuity counters. It's not an evergreen encounter, though. Evergreen means it'll be in every set.
To see the through line.
So we still haven't seen the new evergreen encounter marker is what I was talking about.
For enchantments, put them into play. This new one also deals with enchantments, but it has a little twist, right? It animates your enchantments, which is technology that existed at the time but wasn't used super heavily.
Animate all your artifacts.
More and more and more as time has gone on. So it's cool that we get to kind of take this old card, make a new version of it, and use a bit of cool new design technology to bring it to life.
So for Dominaria United, one of my responsibilities on play design was play testing for standard and limited. The end goal is just make a really fun standard environment.
Maybe Ingenuity counters will be the evergreen counter.
Solkanar. And I remember back, when I was younger, this card was a reprint in the Time Spiral bonus sheet.
They're for all those
playing this card like
kind of creatures that
limited,
count up counters
like I think I
as they get better. It's like the creature version of charge counters, kind of.
So one inspiration for this Solkanar was the card
Oh my god, there's so many cards. They're revealing them so fast.
Really cool abilities you do
and they're all
turn,
sick.
And then at the end of the 3 abilities,
they're all just huge mythic
so this is
or
a take on
rare
Demonic
commanders.
Pact. It has 3
they're all legendaries.
Really cool, powerful abilities. And then when you're done using these 3 abilities, you have to give the card away to your opponent. One of the problems we faced with Solkanar was that the game was ending before we gave it to the opponent. We had to really be careful with the abilities we chose because if you make them too powerful, then the game's going to end before the opponent gets the Solkanar. And if you make them too weak, then maybe nobody's going to play the cards.
We heard about Lord of Windgrace.
This is so much so fast. It's wild.
And they really showed up in earnest in the invasion.
But I guess it's literally less than 2 weeks away.
Was a fierce foe of the Phyrexians. He gave his life to save
like 12 days away from being on Arena.
He invested some of his soul into the land of Urborg, his homeland, to return in the hour of need, in Urborg's hour of need. Well, the Phyrexians are back, and so Windgrace's avatar has risen back up and is going to do battle against the Phyrexians.
Soul of Windgrace?
And it's really cool that this card too keys off of lands, right? Just like the Commander card did, right? So we created this identity for this old character. Dominaria, riffing on that history yet again.
That's a really fun
card and
one.
says, oh, he's going to do stuff with lands this time around, which feels so fitting.
Return lands from grave to board, discard lands to get a good effect.
Line between different incarnations of the same character so that everything feels cohesive.
Luckily,
Booster Fun is
even though I haven't been able to fully read and comprehend all of these cards, because they're all just sick, rare, mythic commanders, my commentary on all of them will be about the same.
We really want to give these extra special moments
that's a limited bomb.
visually different enough from the rest of the cards to give that little extra sauce. And we work really hard.
Yeah, that Windgrace card does look really fun, and it fits perfectly into a current Lord Windgrace deck.
To the setting, we really
you could even swap the 2 commanders out, and they'd play well as the commander of the same 99 cards. Pretty awesome.
For the fans, and if
which is
there's a
super
place
sweet.
For the story, is we realized that stained glass art was the way to go.
Oh my god,
because it had
that's
this
gorgeous.
Reverence, this epic holy luminosity.
The lands were already beautiful, but now seeing some of the non-lands, that's nuts.
And what really clicked for us is when we imagined what is the chapel where this piece of stained glass would live. We used this treatment to highlight some of the legendary, really important creatures like Raf Capuchin. And in the Solkanar
that was the fastest spoiler ever for Raf.
Monster.
Raf Capuchin. Looked pretty good though. Nice limited build around. 2 mana 1/3 when you cast an instant or sorcery. If you tap 2 other creatures, you draw a card.
Tree shapes.
And for 5 mana, you buff your whole board +1/+1.
It's such a beautiful piece. Gave a lot of pathos to this beloved
now they're just showing off.
Gave him his little moment with his little buddy.
This set looks incredible. There's so many fun and powerful designs here.
Cast some of these powerful multicolor legendary creatures.
Nice, the Pain lands are back.
The Pain lands. These are lands that
which is great. Going into Explorer and Pioneer now, that's more dual land options. How about the mana bases?
When you do that. So many of the names refer to specific locations
all of them.
in Dominaria.
Caves of Koilos, one of those iconic locations.
The enemy and allied lands, it looks like.
Can't go on Mirrodin. You can't put that in Ravnica. It's got to be right here. And we've wanted to use
they've shown enemy-colored and ally-colored ones.
They just can't go on a lot of worlds. You know, you can't put these cards on any other plane.
6,
so going back to Dominaria,
and then 4 in the next set.
Perfect time to bring
that's kind of weird.
It brings that nostalgia back, right?
Because usually they go all allied and then all enemies if they're going to split them between 2 sets.
I remember doing this when I was playing.
So having a mixture of allied enemies, that's a little weird.
I played
maybe it's 6 out of the 10 and the next 4 in Brothers War.
But that lenticular design comes into play again, right? Where a newer player is
either way,
sweet,
they're definitely all 10 are coming to standard soon enough.
Of course, one of the best parts of a world chock full of legendary creatures is that it opens up all sorts of fresh options for your commander decks. Let's take a look at what the Dominaria United Commander lineup has to offer. Check out some cards you won't find in the main set.
Yeah, I forgot.
Hear from some of the designers and playtesters.
There's commander decks in every set now. So we get to see some commander-exclusive Dominaria cards.
Show up in a main set with this commander deck.
I thought we were going to learn about new mechanics. Said we were going to learn about some of the set's new mechanics, but we just saw a bunch of new super crazy cards. Ooh, 5-color Jared Carthalion Planeswalker Commander.
Era when Planeswalkers bestrode the multiverse like gods. Jared is still around. He survived the Planeswalker war that happened, and he's helping out the Coalition. He's sort of a secret agent and rescuing people who are in dangerous situations and such like that.
Pretty sick.
You can tell he's part of the Coalition because he has all 5 colors of mana in his mana.
Not the strongest Planeswalker ever, but all of the Planeswalkers that you can play as a commander have to be a little bit watered down.
Magic in general has so many cool legendary
objects
pretty dang around the history that Dahada plays not just with your legendary creatures, but you want to look at every legendary artifact you can find. My favorite when I was playtesting the deck was looking for all the legendary lands. You're like, hey, those actually are really good with Dahada. You can find them with her and do all kinds of cool stuff. So it makes you care about legendary in particular. And then that I thought was a fun little twist on something that feels a lot different from
very legendary build around.
So notice on both these
red, white, black commander
Jared and Dahada, they have ways to help make sure the game goes forward, right? Either they're building up to this huge ultimate, which will probably win you the game, or they're putting counters on creatures, helping your stuff attack, stuff that just makes the game move forward.
So these are the new versions of the old legendaries,
Warrior.
Which are pretty nice.
It's 2 red-green for a legendary creature human warrior, and it's a 3/4. It was important that Stang Twin made a copy of himself, made a new Stang, because that was reminiscent of the old Stang. But we had to find a new thing for it to do.
A much more viable Stang.
Like and gave it a deck building hook. So one of the things that sounded cool was
I really like these. I like making new viable versions of the old legends. It's very, very cool.
Here is Savitri Dragon Master, 2 UB for a Planeswalker.
Just Planeswalkers
there are
in the
not
box
even really that many blue-black dragon cards in Magic, so if you are building this deck, you are, really doing something special here. The card is pretty cool. It does have like the qualities of a commander. It's like a super special character.
There are
so
many
and also,
commanders in this set. There's so many legendaries in the base set. There's commander exclusive cards. There are box topper exclusive commanders.
I love these legendaries.
There's so many new commanders.
So cool because it brings back all these old characters from Legends we get to see.
You could go to your local game store when they're playing Commander Night. There could be 30 people there. They could all be playing a Dominaria United commander, and everyone could have a different deck.
Magic history, a through line from Legends all the way to today.
Now, getting back to the cards you'll be seeing in the main set. Well, let's just say heroes aren't the only ones making history on Dominaria. The plane has its share of old enemies, and once again, there's something sinister bubbling up behind the scenes. Once, Dominaria was able to thwart an invasion by the mechanical horrors known as the Phyrexians. But now, Phyrexia has returned, with their sights set on making the plane and everything in it.
See some Phyrexian cards.
Let's find out more about what they have in mind for Dominaria and the rest of the multiverse.
Maybe get to hear some Phyrexian mechanics.
A very long time ago, the Phyrexians were able to utilize essentially a portal to come through, and they really wreaked havoc. And as we open our story, Karn is on Dominaria because he truly believes
Spoiler
that
alert,
the
they might get into some big spoilers here.
Any proof. So we start off with Karn
as
looking
they talk
for
about
that
the
proof,
Phyrexians
and boy,
in
oh
the story.
boy, does he find it pretty immediately. So Karn quickly finds freaking Shieldred, which is terrifying. Shieldred not only controls those around
very
her
nice.
that
It's
have
very
also
cheap,
been
efficient
defeated, but can come apart into
there.
tiny little pieces and just crawl all over
Absolutely
you like
absurd and
spiders.
limited, as
There's
always.
nothing more horrifying.
The Shieldred card.
It's a super nice Shieldred. It's so different from the original too, being so much cheaper.
It's in a lot of ways the nexus.
It's a lot of life drain, life gain,
and a lot of evil. What
that's
Joe
very
did
efficient.
with his composition.
I like how different
really
she is
nailed
from
it
the
with
original.
This like kind of poisonous color palette, which really
that
is
a lot.
unsettling, and with these kind of like shadowy figures that he has in the front, just really giving her this moment to revel in her evilness.
So after Karn meets up with Shieldred and attempts to defeat her, she's able to escape. Thankfully, Ajani comes to the rescue, and they are able to travel to where there are peace talks happening in Dominaria and warn the leaders that, hey, there's some Phyrexians here and we need to watch out. But of course, with Phyrexians come Phyrexian sleeper agents, and you don't know who you can trust. Which takes us to Banalish Sleeper. So Dominaria is a beautiful plane. It's really accented by all this stained glass. It has
That's a really cool way to show off sleeper agents as a mechanic. Love that Kicker's back. Kicker's great and limited.
But there are also
yeah, show off that like you play it regularly, just a 2-mana 3/1 human soldier. You know, that's normal. But then add that black mana there. Suddenly it's like secretly
not only sleeper agents,
Phyrexian and make everybody sack a creature.
And Shieldred herself. So we're gonna get to see our planeswalkers go up against the Phyrexians and really try to wipe them out before they have the chance to potentially make it off of Dominaria. I mean, the whole
that card's insane. Did you read that?
Dominaria's long legacy.
Each blue permanent you cast, you can pay 2 life instead of one of the blue symbols in its cost. So you can cast 1 mana blue permanents for free, and whenever you cast a blue permanent, you draw a card.
The power of unifying all 5 colors of Magic together against
I have
the
to have
Phyrexians.
misread something on that card.
Diversity and
that is so breakable. Such an insane combo engine.
To victory against the Phyrexians in the
I have to have misread something.
Really
that card is nuts.
Return to an invasion to bring back an invasion mechanic, and now it's back in its rightful home in Dominaria.
Nice, Domain is back.
Going back to what we played in Invasion.
Ability words are
That's going to be so good with Streets of New Capenna.
Technology innovation that hadn't been invented yet when the original Invasion.
Domain is just for each basic land you control. You get a thing. Each basic land type.
So kicker.
So you have to have a wide variety of basic land types. The reason it's really good with Streets of New Capenna is you just play a Triome turn 1, and then turn 2 you go Forest to play that 2-mana card. Your Triome is 3 basic land types. So if you play a non-green Triome and then you play a Forest and you cast that 2-mana X3, it's already a turn 2 4/3.
And that to me increases
so Domain is going to be sick with the Triomes in Standard.
Which goes beyond just how good the card is individually. The other thing you'll hear shorthand a lot
it cares about basic land types, not specifically basic lands. So Swamp Mountain, Plains, all that.
It looks like
Kicker much more self-explanatory. You pay the extra cost and get the
pay a little
bonus
or pay
effect.
A lot and have the effect scale. And
but Kicker is incredible for any limited format. Making your cards more flexible, you play them early or play them late.
Creature Angel at rare with flying and lifelink, but it also has Kicker for black and or red, so you could pay 6 mana.
That card is an absolutely disgusting bomb.
And have a 3/4 flying lifelink left over?
I mean,
4 mana 3/4 flying lifelink, already insane. Either Kicker, 2 damage to any target.
I'm already in, but of course, now you also
They're saying the exact same thing as me, it's kind of embarrassing.
Or your white-red deck. I mean, you can just play this in your white deck, right? Now, keep in mind, this also has lifelink, and this is the creature doing the damage. So what that means is when you deal 2 damage to something, you're also gaining the 2 life.
That's insane! Yeah.
It's a giant life-linking flyer that can potentially kill 2 things and gain you 4 life.
Wow.
It's a mega good card. Read Ahead is a new mechanic.
Read Ahead is a new ability found on Saga cards. Rather than always entering with a single lore counter starting on Chapter 1, Sagas with read ahead can start on any chapter you like.
That's really cool.
You can
just
have
more
the phasing
flexible
of Zalfir enter with
sagas.
1, 2, or 3 lore counters on it. The corresponding chapter ability will trigger, and earlier ones won't. And after the story is done and the last chapter ability is finished, you sacrifice the saga just like before.
That's really cool.
So we're getting sagas back.
That's a great
There's going to be a
mechanic.
little bit of a twist for this
You're
one.
confused?
But what is your experience?
So you know how
with
sagas, like you play them on 1, then they go to 2, then they go to 3? Read ahead is you play them on whichever mode you want. You just skip right ahead. So if you want to just immediately do part 3 of the saga, you just do it.
Would, but they have
But you still sacrifice it like normal.
So you can kind of plan around it.
But you could also just play it on 1 and let it do the whole saga.
Right? And to me,
that seems like a great mechanic. Just make them even more versatile,
where they hit
more
that
flexible.
core thing where you get it. You know, you see it and you go, that's neat. I understand what story's being told.
It looks like you don't have to pay anything. You just choose when you play it.
Chapters of a saga.
Just choose where it's starting.
Okay, now I get why skipping ahead might sometimes be a good thing to do.
Right, because this just gives you that flexibility, right?
Yeah, that's huge.
And that's got to be huge. And with this, I mean,
also that's a very flavorful saga for the story of how Teferi phased his home plane of Zalfir to save them from the original Phyrexian threat. So it's like the first 2 chapters are him saving his home, and then the third is the Phyrexians destroying everything, making everything Phyrexian. Very flavorful saga.
But again, if you feel like you have enough of a board presence, you can use this to save your best creatures, right? You can play this, phase out your 2 best creatures.
Yeah, the payment is that you're missing out on some of the value you would have gotten by hitting all 3 modes by just speeding straight to the 3rd one. That's kind of the cost.
Enlist.
Enlist, another new mechanic.
Enlist is an attack-oriented triggered ability. Whenever a creature with Enlist attacks, you may tap another creature you control to add its power to the attacking creature until end of turn.
Banding's back.
But there are some rules.
Banding's back.
The creature you enlist can't also be attacking, and it can't have summoning sickness, meaning it can't have just come under your control this turn.
They tried to fix banding, and I'm still going to be confused.
The smallest creatures contribute on offense. This fight needs everyone, so stand united.
Okay, that's not that bad. It's not that confusing.
So this is 1 and a white for a 2/2 rare
you
human
only
soldier
add the
with
power.
This looks like a pain. I do not want to play against this card in any format.
Right, and you know, this is another take on.
It said it has to not be summoning sick or something.
Sticky white creature.
Yes,
that's going to see a lot of play in these constructed.
I need to reread Enlist. I got too scared because it reminded me of banding.
You get those perfect curve starts.
It has to be not summoning sick as well.
Attack, enlist. Oh, you want to block? Indestructible.
Tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning sickness, so it doesn't work with vigilance creatures. It doesn't work the turn you play a creature.
There has been a push for white to be able to not draw extra cards necessarily, but augment its draw step. This keeps you.
There have to be some pretty big incentives to enlist for it to be good and constructed, but it's definitely going to be an interesting one in Limited.
You can't get rid of the thing.
Really excited to see how this pans out because this is going to be a staple, I'm pretty sure.
It's kind of a lot of restrictions there.
I don't really know what the idea was behind showing Paul and I this card because this is the type of thing we have nightmares about, but sure, it plays.
It's going to be something I'm
just play a Raging Goblin and enlist it.
So we've seen a lot of these new mechanics.
For just 1 mana.
Marshall, what do you think about the mechanics that you've seen today and how it compares to Dominaria?
That's cool. If they were ever going to try to make a fixed banding, Dominaria would be the set to do it.
Mechanics that we've seen. We talked about Kicker. Talked about that, love it, super excited for it. Sagas we don't always get.
Right.
And anytime we do, I automatically up my bar for my expectations, so I've done that. And when I see different colored mana symbols come up on these type of really powerful cards like we saw with that Angel, I'm in. Right now I'm thinking I can make the mana work too, and that's kind of the last ingredient for me. So expectations are about as high as I can get. Yeah, so who here
Same.
brought the
Definitely
back
agree
so
with
we
Marshall.
can-
Very
Yeah,
high
can I
expectations for this as a limited format.
As you can
very,
see,
very
there's
hopeful.
a lot to look
It's gonna be
forward
another
to
great
with Magic
one
returning to
after
where it
a
all
little
began.
bit
You can pre-order
underwhelming
Dominaria
stuff
United
with
online or
companion
at your
Baldur's
local
Gate.
game store. And of course, you'll be able to find it at pre-releases starting September 2nd and available everywhere.
Arena on
starting
September 1st.
That just about wraps things up
Like
for us.
13
But before
days.
you go, apparently there's
It's
a few
so
last
close.
things players need to know about this latest Phyrexian threat.
Oh no. A few more things to know about the Phyrexian threat. We're gonna see some death.
For Dominaria
some bad things.
to finally become whole. I will stitch perfection into the flesh of this land.
There's the big spoiler they talked about in the article today. Oh no. Oh god. That's messed up. You can't just end the stream like that. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's the big spoilers. If you have not read the story article, you've just gotten the big news. Ajani has been completed and killed Jaya. And that's where we're at in the story, heading into Dominaria United. That was heading into the Brothers' War. That was the Dominaria United storyline. So yeah, that wild stuff happened, and then Teferi was like, all right, I said I was never gonna mess with time again, but I need to go back in time to get and learn how to use the Silex, so I need to go back in time to the Brothers' War. So that's why we're going to Brothers' War next, because the Phyrexians pretty much won against the Gatewatch right now, currently. In the current set. That is gonna end the stream for today. But that was a wild one. That was a great event. The Wizards Presents. I'm incredibly looking forward to Magic for the year to come. Dominaria United looks incredible. All of the mechanics they put in the set for Limited look great. I think it'll be a great limited format. All of the upcoming sets seem like great places to go. Brothers' War into revisiting New Phyrexia and then doing the big Phyrexian War. Then chilling out with Eldraine and Ixalan. That all seems great. Doctor Who Secret Lairs really cool. Lord of the Rings is going to be draftable on Arena. That's perfect. That's the one piece of news I wanted out of that set, and we got that news. Just a 10 out of 10 event. Incredible cards. Incredible everything. Just everything. 10 out of 10. Loved it all. Great designs that they've showed off for Dominaria United. Every single one I've enjoyed. Even the common designs. The only one I didn't enjoy too much was like the 3-mana 3/2. It's like, okay, whatever. But everything else was just really elegantly designed. Even the cards I didn't think were that good were so flavorful or so uniquely designed. And yeah, really looking forward to where Magic and Magic Arena are going in the coming year. So once again, that is going to end the stream for today. But thank you all very much for watching. And if you're watching the edited together compilation on YouTube, thank you very much for watching as well. If you want to catch some more videos or live streams like this, you can follow my Twitch channel in the link in the description below. Or you can like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. So once again, thanks everybody for watching. I hope you all have a good rest of the day, and I'll see you again for some more Magic-related stuff very soon.